going to go ahead and I'm just
Okay.
going to start the recording here, but I'm going to share my screen as we get started. And I just want to show you some of the results that you'll see in your Google Grant account. And, it's been 4 or 5 months since this was set up. Are you able to see this okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this on the screen over here. Okay, so you will see since we started your Google Grant and it began showing ads around October 11th, the week of October 11th, and you've had 65,800 additional viewers to your website, which is quite a few, obviously. The number of people who have seen your ads, the impressions, is 529,000. So again, a lot. Now you've actually had exactly 500 conversions. And so these would be people actually signing up for the ebook you put together, which is that's excellent. 500, that is a good list of people that you can be following up with as you put more kind of digital infrastructure in place. And, you've got a good list of people there to be encouraging in their faith. So that's awesome. And you have spent $49,000 in advertising. So that's kind of the initial overview here. Do you have any questions on those numbers?
No, I think they are okay. Maybe as we go along, I would ask the question in my mind.
Okay, absolutely. Well, just let me know. And in terms of the spend of your Google Grant, you are spending essentially your entire grant. The most you can spend in any week is $22.50. So you'll see this week was $22.40, $22.77. You went a little over that week, $22.77. So you're spending pretty much the full grant. And it looks like there is a small exception in there. This has been since October. So you're just a little shy of the 50,000 there in 5 months. So anyway, that's going very well. The next thing in terms of your spend, now, the next thing I wanted to show you, I think that's also encouraging, not only for you, but, maybe for anybody else watching this video. Let me show you the locations of the people you're reaching. So you'll see here over the 5 months, and we can zoom out. Let me see if I can zoom. Nope, this is as far out as I can zoom, apparently. See, we are targeting for different ad groups, United States, much of Europe, but specifically Africa, okay? And you'll see here, you have had 22,900 clicks from Nigeria, 10,000, almost 10,500 from South Africa. You've gotten 5,700 from United Kingdom, another almost 5,000 from Ghana, 3,000 from Kenya, Zambia, 1,600, Uganda, 1,300. So you're really reaching, people groups that would otherwise be fairly difficult to reach. Especially for churches in the West. And this goes down. I mean, this goes way down. Uganda, Malaysia, Zimbabwe, Hong Kong, Tanzania. I mean, you're reaching, let's just see how many there are real quick, 82 different countries and provinces. Some of these obviously are very difficult to reach. If I think I saw in here, let me see. I thought I saw Yemen. Could be wrong. Yemen is a very difficult place to reach and very anti-Christian. I think I saw the Democratic Republic of the Congo as well, and that's just a difficult place to reach in general. Anyway, so that said, you're really, you have a global influence in terms of the prayers that you're offering and the prayer guide that you have downloaded. Now you can also, obviously 500 of these people have signed up. And one of the things that I wanted to just kind of offer in this call is just how to optimize the process that you already have set up. So the ads are running, the ads are doing great. Obviously you're getting tons of clicks. One of the things you may do as you continue in the future is simplify, because we created a lot of these. Now, one thing, and this is something we discussed in our consulting sessions, but The local campaigns probably aren't going to spend more than $50. And that's essentially what you're seeing with the ads. If you go look, it's all essentially international content traffic through your ads. So one of the things you can do is come to your international campaign and go to ad groups and find the ones that are getting you the most conversions or the most clicks. You can look on both of those and kind of make decisions. But just to make it more easy to manage, you can kind of start eliminating, because we said we don't know which ones of these are going to do the best. Well, you've got enough data, you can kind of see which ones are really effective and which ones aren't as effective. And you can start kind of paring them down, and you could probably do that and still spend the whole grant and just kind of have a fewer number of pages to manage to have that done. So that would be my first thing. One of the ones that particularly stands out to me here is $28 for a conversion. And you've had 223 conversions. So this is spending a good amount of money over, the time frame, but morning prayer. And so I have pulled up this page, and one of the questions that I'm asking is, how do we get this conversion rate here, which is 2.73%? How do we get that even higher? And so if we go over here to morning prayer, and this is the landing page that we have set up for morning prayer, you'll notice that this goes straight from morning prayer to download your prayer guide, your free prayer, ebook on prayer. And so this is a little bit of a harsh jump. And I think that the call to action is exactly right. I think that when we were talking, and I'm sure, you've got a million things going on with ministry, but having a video that introduces them to that morning prayer. And I know you do have this on some of your landing pages. So, this is the Lord's Prayer, and you have the Lord's Prayer campaign. And I really like this. You've got the 7-day prayer guide right on there. And then, this might be able to be updated to say, download your 7-day prayer guide here. But that said, you have a video where you're explaining the Lord's Prayer to them, which is what they searched. And then you're calling them kind of comfortably into a download. And now on a number of the ad groups, this is the page you're using, and the call to action is great. Get your free prayer guide download now. I think that you would see a lot more people signing up and staying on your pages longer if you began with a 5-minute targeted video. And in this case, it would be on a morning prayer. So you'd be saying, hey, this is Pastor Victor. In this video, I want to just offer up a morning prayer for you. Close your eyes and bow your head with me, and we're going to bless your day. And then you give them a prayer, and then say, hey, if you want to learn how to pray, yourself and talk to God like this, then go ahead in the box below and download your free 7-day prayer guide. And I look forward to praying more with you there. Something like that. And that will bridge the gap between them looking up a morning prayer and the prayer guide. Because right now they just kind of hit this page and it says, get your prayer guide. Does that transition process, does that kind of make sense as to what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, it does. But interesting enough, it seems to be the one that has the highest.
Very true.
So maybe something too is also attracting people there. The one with the video did not attract as much as did not get enough conversion as this one. But
interesting.
But in optimizing, I will try what you said.
Okay.
It's just that time has been a very, very precious and scarce commodity now.
Absolutely.
To update. Yeah.
No, and I completely understand, and that's one thing why I was suggesting maybe minimizing the number of these that you're doing, because, it takes a lot of time to put this content together. That said, you can try. I agree that this one is actually doing, 2.79% conversion rate is That's fairly decent. A 3% is kind of what a digital marketer might consider good as a blanket benchmark. But it can certainly be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15%. We've had campaigns that do 30% if you're really optimizing over time. And so that's one way you can do it. Another thing that you can try on some of these is to just write out the prayer more in like a blog form. And maybe it's just a little 500-word page and it says, hey, exactly what you would have said in the video, but just in text. And then it says download the prayer guide at the end. But I think the important thing is that the content that they're looking for is on the page before you ask them to download, so they feel like they got what they came for. But that said, all of those are just optimizations. I mean, it's possible that this is the most effective way it could ever possibly be, and you would find that out as you just optimized and you found every way you try it just isn't as good, at least for this group of ads. And you've got a bunch of ad groups, and each one of those, it can be incrementally more effective as you continue on. So I think that is just kind of the main suggestion that I had, but I mostly just very excited with the number of people you're reaching and the number of people that are downloading your prayer guide. And I would love to answer any questions with the remaining time, and just see if there's any additional way I can bless you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. One, I would appreciate if I can always reach out.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Then, yes, some of the, conversions that we are seeing there is not every, it's not all the conversions that, are real emails. Sure. Because I go to the back end to check. A couple of people put fictitious, emails, so the conversion, the actual conversion that are real people that you can converse with. Mm-hmm. I mean real emails that authentic. Yeah. It's a percentage, but it's a good percentage, of those that actually downloaded the book. Okay. What I'm still trying to do is to get an automated response service, that would help kind of like sending scheduled mails to, this list of emails, but I've not been able to do that. The few that I've done was just through, a mail merge, attempt, that I did a couple of times, and that was just it. So I think you recommended, is it active something?
Yep, there's active campaign.
Campaign. I think I tried them, the demo. We were not able to do it because they couldn't give me the kind of the answers I was looking for. They were not able to give to me. So and I don't think, do you offer such a training also?
On what?
On integrating your mailing list with what's it called? With a software that manages the
contacts.
Campaign. Yes, the contact. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, it would depend on which one you wanted to use. There's so many of them, but like I said, we've used Active Campaign, we've used Zoho. there's a few of them we've used, and that's, if you were going with one of those, be happy to talk
And
more about that.
there is MailChimp or something.
MailChimp is, yeah, we're familiar with that one as well. So, if that's something that you want to talk more about in the future, then we could absolutely look into that more. And then in regards to your other question, you're definitely going to get some emails, people who are just putting in fake emails. And that is really common, even in the business world, when, like, for example, we're doing, lead generation with any marketing firm. They're doing lead generation for a wedding venue or a contractor. There is some percentage of them that are going to put in false information, fake phone numbers, and you have to account for that when you're setting up your advertising systems, because some of them are just always going to do it. There's no way around that. So, but it's good to hear that that's not the majority. There are sometimes when advertising setups, just certain industries where, a lot of them are fake, and you really have to put in systems to kind of avoid that as much as possible. But it's good to hear that the majority of yours are real. And, so anyway, just to kind of address that as well.
Okay. One more.
Yeah.
And I think in our email conversation, I referenced it. So the Google grant has been largely on autopilot for me. It's been a while that I've been there. Are there reports or what, in order to maintain the grant, are there things that I need to do? What time?
Yeah, let's go through that. How about we go through that with the time we have left? That's a great idea, and I should have thought of that myself. So let's do this. I'm going to share my screen with you one more time.
Okay.
And we're going to come back over here, and we're going to review your Google Grant account. Can you see my screen here?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So the first thing that we want to look at, so, for you, Pastor, but also for anybody else watching, Google will pause your Google Grant. They will say that you are non-compliant with their Google Grant policy if there are any number of things that happen within the account on a 30-day sort of month-to-month basis. And so one of the things with having a Google Grant is going in and making sure your account is compliance. So let's go in here first. And the thing that we want to do first is we want to check our dates, and we want to do last 30 days. Got a little bit of a sore throat.
Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's fine. Let's see here. Okay, so I have March 1st through the 30th, and that is going to be sufficient for what last 30 days is. And so you'll see here, we've got the dates correct. Now, what I want to do, the first thing I want to do, you can see you're spending $9,700. So you're spending the majority of the grant, which is great. We want to see the the click-through rate of the account. So your account is currently getting a 12.88% click-through rate, which is very high. A good kind of benchmark for a Google Grant account is, any paid, like when we say pay-per-click advertising account is about 3%. That would be considered acceptable if you were doing services for any kind of business, really.
Okay.
And again, that's a broad, but that kind of gives you an idea. So you're up at 12, which is excellent. Anything above 10, 15% is just really good. So the account requires that you have a 5% click-through rate in order to stay live with the Google Grant. So you don't have any problems here. Now, if you did have a problem, what we would want to do is we would want to come into your account keywords, which we'll have to do anyway, but you would then filter them by click-through rate from, let's say, highest to lowest. So you'll see some of them have a 50% click-through rate, 40%, all the way down. So yeah, so I mean, and this is just because there's only one click and 2 impressions, so it's not because it's consistently doing that over time. But that said, the average in the account is around 12.8%. Now, if you did have a really low click-through rate, which your account probably is not going to have this problem, but for anybody who did, what you would do is you would scroll down to, let's say, anything under 5%, and you would just start selectively pausing the keywords that are performing at an under a 5% click-through rate. And this is
Okay.
really painful because sometimes the accounts, for example, this one keyword has 400 clicks in the last month. If that's below 5%, it might have to go. But then you're going to pause all of these and then check the account average again and make sure that it is now above 5%. So that's the first thing you have to do. The next thing any questions on that one?
No, that's okay.
Okay. The next thing that we're going to want to do is we also have to make sure that the keywords all have a quality score above 1 or 2. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. But Google says, if you have a low quality score, we're just going to shut you off. So let me see here. So we're going to click on the column. So we're in the keywords settings here. And I am going to come down here, quality score, and we're going to put quality score on here and apply. Okay, so now we're in the search keywords searches. Excuse me, what am I doing? Yeah, search keywords, there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to filter them by quality score. So you'll see 10 out of 10 quality score, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Now we want to go toward the bottom here and find, I'm going to move you again. There, we're just going to expand this out to 200. And we're going to come down and you'll see here, we have keywords with quality score of 2222, and all of these need to be paused. And so actually you'll notice we've actually gone in and already paused these. So okay, these are paused and we'll just want to check, and that's it. So there's only a few in the account right now. Now this may change in the future. Some of these 3s might bump down to a 2 in future months. And so you just got to keep an eye in here. Now, the next thing you want to be aware of in your account that can get your account deactivated by Google is having single word keywords. And we discussed this when we built the account. But for example, live church is 2 words, so you're fine. But if it just said church, well, you can't have any of those. And now, unless you've added, and I don't think you have, but unless you've added keywords since the last time we met, we built the account and we just started without any of these. So this wouldn't be a problem you would face. So, so you shouldn't have any in the account, but for, again, anybody who is watching this, you want to go through the account and make sure you don't have, church in here, or Jesus, or Bible, or Christ, or, any other terms that just are one term that can get your account removed. Now, another thing you want to check if your account is set to optimize conversions, you'll want to check and make sure your conversion tracking is working. And now this is pretty easy with you because we can see you have 106 conversions this month. And so that is complete. One more thing that you'll want to do is you want to make sure that whoever has been looking into this account on a monthly basis either has a responsive search ad, which is what we created in your account. It's kind of a whole, in the past, you would have had what are called expanded text ads, and they have 3 headlines and then 2 descriptions, and you put your link in there. And you used to run 2 of those against each other to see which one's better and then get rid of the one that doesn't work as well. Well, they kind of just piled multiple of those into one ad, and that's a responsive search ad. So you only have to have 1 responsive search ad, which is what you have in your campaigns. But if you were running the expanded text ads, they're going away. So this won't even be relevant in another few months. But for anyone who does still have those in their account, you have to have 2 of them. So that is soon to be a non-issue, but still worth it, worth knowing for now anyway. The next thing you'll want to check is to make sure that your budgets haven't changed. $329 a month is what they need to be, or excuse me, a day. And you'll see down here, $329 a day for your local campaign as well, which we know isn't spending very much. That is another requirement. If it's not $329 a day, then you will want to make sure that that's $329. And a lot of times in Google Grants, you'll see people just set them at 1,000 or 100, just random numbers, but it needs to be $329. And the reason for that is when you times $329 a day by 30 days, you get $10,000. And that is what the grant can spend. Now, the other thing that you want to be looking for on a monthly basis, just keeping your eyes open for any kind of identity verification emails in your email, because if you don't verify your identity within their time frame, they'll pause your account. There are also an annual survey that you have to take in order to remain qualified for the Google Grant account. And so, whichever month you signed up, you'll probably get that in the same month the next year. And that has to be done within their time frame they send over. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think that there's also a required quiz that comes along with the survey. And you have to pass kind of a Google Ads basic knowledge quiz. And I believe they send that out once a year as well, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. I know you have to do it to start the account. I'm not sure if it's required annually. So anyway, those are the requirements that you want to be checking into. Those are the minimum requirements. Now, that obviously doesn't include the optimization process. And when you optimize the account, you're looking for how to improve it. And oftentimes you're actually removing things from the account in order to optimize. And so, this might be akin, like in a Christian ministry, if you have 10 different ministries, I'm in Oahu, so let's say a surfing ministry and a hiking ministry, and you've got 10 different ministries, and you actually end up kind of removing some ministries strategically. Well, in this scenario, your ministries are your campaigns and ad groups. So let's look at your ad groups, and let's look at the number of conversions that are coming in here. So you'll see in the last month, and if you're going to do this, I would really suggest you do it on a larger time frame than a month, because you've got 5 months worth of data. But that said, if we're only looking at a month, you'll see you got 45 signups from morning prayer ad group at $29. Well, that's excellent. Okay, so 29 is really low. You've got almost a 3% conversion rate on that ad group. So that's really good. You come down here to what is prayer. You got 18 signups, which is great, but it costs $112 to get each person. And so you'll see you spent $29 to get the 45 people, 29 each to get those 45. And then you're spending $112 each to get these 18. So you had to spend $2,000 to get these 18, but you spent $1,300 to get these 45. So can you kind of see how one of them is much more effective than the other? And so there would be kind of two ways to look at this. One way would be, well, why is the conversion rate so low on this particular landing page? And you would open that page and you would say, okay, well, why aren't people signing up on this page as much as the other page? And then you take some, what do you want to say, educated guesses, and you kind of tweak those pages, try to figure out, get into the mind of the user and say, well, what is it that's just maybe not building their trust enough to go ahead and download that book? And you could revise those pages over 30 days or 60 days. This isn't real money. We just get this for free. So you can play with it a little bit. But at the end of the day, if this is just an ad group that is just not that viable, well, just pause it and let the money flow to the ones that are getting the best results. And so, you can do that in here. Now, something else you can do as well is we can go to the audiences tab. I don't remember if we set this up, but yes, we did. Excellent. Now, I do apologize. My throat is just bugging me a little bit today.
Sorry about that.
No. So the audiences will show you who is signing up and how frequently. And so you'll see this is age. So you see 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, and so on. Now, I want to see how many people clicked, and let's say how many people actually converted. So let's switch this second one to conversions. Hopefully it will let me. Okay, there we go. And there we go. So what you'll notice is we have, it looks like a low number of conversions here in the 25 to 34 ad group range and actually a high number of conversions, the red column is the conversions, you'll notice that there is a high number of conversions here. So maybe we'll even look at this a little differently, trying to find the right metrics that kind of give us the information we want. But let's say cost per conversion and number of conversions. Okay, so now the blue column is cost per conversion. So you'll notice that people 18 to 24 cost $61 on average to convert. 25 to 34 cost $111. 35 to 44 cost $82. 45 to 54 is $70. But if you come over here to the unknown, it's $194.
Yeah.
So one thing we may do is come in and turn off this unknown and just not advertise to people that we don't know the age of. And that would bring it down. Now, this is the same thing with your 55 to 64. It appears that, we got 4 conversions and each one cost $151. I mean, that means you spent about $600 on these clicks and only got 4. So maybe this is something we turn off. Now we're looking at this, we're looking at this at the campaign level. You have to do this at the ad group level. So you'd actually come into each of these and kind of be changing these settings, which, we don't really have time to do all of these right now, but just kind of showing you. But you would just say edit, and then it would say select an ad group. So we'll just say this one, and then you would uncheck unknown. Now you would want to check the specific numbers for each of those ad groups. So we won't do that now. But yeah, so this is optimizing. Now you come over to gender. So you'll notice here, we got to change these again here. So let's say cost per conversion is blue and conversions is red. Okay, so women are on average costing $68 to convert, and you have 58 of them. Men are costing $100 to convert, and you have 42 of them. So, it's possible that you just go with women if you can spend the full budget and continue to reach them, because it's costing less to reach them, so you can reach more of them. Now, if you come over to unknown, this is really interesting. It costs $244 to reach each of them, and you only reach 6. Well, you spent thousands of dollars at this point, maybe, what is that, $2,000 or $3,000 on people that we don't know the gender. It's not reported to Google, and those were the least effective. And so maybe this is what we want to turn off here and save the money for either men or women that Google knows, because this is much more efficient over here, and this is very inefficient. Does you kind of see how that works?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So all we're doing is we're just redirecting the budget into the things that are more effective, and it's just pruning. It's just kind of a biblical pruning process here. And you can see again here, household income, and we'll just go to conversions. We'll look at the same thing, conversion value. And the reason we're doing conversion value and conversions is because this is the most valuable information that you can get from Google Ads. We can't see anything past this, and this is the closest thing we can measure to them moving deeper into your ministry is when they give over their contact information. And so it doesn't really matter how many clicked or what the click-through rate is, as long as it stays within the account guidelines of 5%. None of that stuff really matters. We want to know how far down do they get with you, and the furthest thing down that we can measure is the conversion. So let's see here. What did I say? Number of conversions. There we go. Okay, so household income unknown, you have 100 conversions at $88 a conversion. Top 10% of income earners, you have 1 conversion and $188 per conversion. So this is much more expensive, and you don't get many conversions at all. And you'll notice that all the way down the line here. Very interesting. And this kind of tells me that maybe in many of the countries that you're advertising in, Google just doesn't have data on what their income is. So this is one I'd probably just leave alone, because, I don't know, unless you continue to get more data that suggests that you're just not getting any conversions from these kind of top income earners, then I just leave it alone until you can be more sure. But that said, that's household income. So that is another way you can come in and optimize the account. You can also do it by keywords. So when you come in, and so you can see there's all these different ways that you can start restricting the account and increasing the results, which is just such a fun thing to be able to do. You have a lot of control, which I don't think a lot of people recognize. If you buy the data, which is what you're doing, you can essentially guarantee that people are going to take action on your landing pages just by eliminating the people who aren't taking action. You know, as long as you have a big enough audience, you can do that without really any question, given that you have the time for it. So anyway, the conversion rate here will organize your keywords. You see this Christian books has a 16% conversion rate. So that's pretty significant. Oh, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, but the video is gone.
My video cut out. Okay. Well, I'm just going to keep going because I think we're about finished. But oh, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, even better. So you'll notice 12.5% conversion rate. But as you come down here, well, we're spending money. Do we have enough clicks? 153 clicks and no conversions on this, right? Birthday prayer for a friend. We've had over 153 people on that page this month, and not one of them downloaded the ebook. Well, maybe that's not effective. Maybe we can tweak the landing page. If not, maybe we just stop advertising to this altogether and let that money flow into something that does kind of produce fruit. So that's another way to optimize the account. So these are all things that, you know, if you're working with, you know, a firm, this is the kind of thing they're doing every month. But minimally, you want to make sure that your account isn't getting, yeah, I've got some noise outside. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're just remaining compliant at least, but if you can, be doing the optimizations every month as well.
All right. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the insight.
Absolutely. Well, it was really a pleasure to work with you. And I mainly just wanted to meet one more time here and just encourage you. And I think it's so exciting, the number of people you're reaching in these countries. I mean, it's digital ministry, you know,
yes,
and
yes.
You can always just continue to add incrementally as you're able. So, but feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll look forward to being in touch in the future.
I really appreciate Brett. Thank you so much. And I would keep in touch.
All right. God bless, Pastor Victor.
God bless you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course.